Good morning, students. Welcome you all for the e-classes of St. Joseph College, Visakhapatnam, Department of Botany. Today we are going to start with discussing about the general characteristics of bryophytes. What exactly are the bryophytes? So we know those are the non-vascular plants. They, that includes the mosses, the liverworts, and the hornworts. They are found in moist environment and play a very crucial role in their ecosystem. Their key characteristics, reproduction, and the ecological significance. When you see the habitat and structures, mostly they are the first land plants where they thrive to shade moist shaded area, and they are pyokilohydrous, meaning they lack the ability to regulate the internal water content. They are known as the amphibians of the plant kingdom. Regarding the structure, they are the simple thalloid structures, meaning that they lack two roots, two stem, and the two leaves. And they have the rhizoids for anchorage and the fillets for the photosynthesis. So these are the three types of the bryophytes that are being found. Groups, they are known as the liverworts, the hornworts, and the mosses. So when we talk about the dominant phase in the bryophytes, mostly the bryophyte dominant phase is the gametophytic phase. Before that, going into dominant phase as the gametophyte phase, we know that the most of the plant body, the dominant phase is the haploid stage, which we call it as the gametophyte, and this and on the gametophytic stage, the sporophyte is dependent, and so that's the reason they show the life cycle of the haplodiplobiontic type of the life cycles. Regarding the reproduction, these bryophytes reproduce both sexually and asexually, where asexual reproduction takes place by gamma formation, gamma cup formation, the propagule formations, and by fragmentations, while the sexual reproduction takes place by oogamous types, where the fusion of the gametes will takes place and it develops into a zygote, which develops the sporophytic plant body, which is dependent on the gametophyte. So these are the embryonic conditions. So the mosses, the bryophytes, when you see the mosses, liverworts, and the hornworts, where the mosses, the male gametes are known as the antheridium, the female gametes are known as archegonium. So these antheridia and archegonia are present on special structures, stalk-like structures, which are known as the anthridiophores in case of the male, and in case of the female, they are known as the archegoniophores. And on these pairs, the male and the female gametes are present, which are known as antheridium and archegon. The antheridium later develops the flagellator sperms, which swim through water, and no vascular tissues are present in this particular. No, and the lignin is also absent in case of the plants. The sexual reproduction, when we go into the details, the male sex organs are biflagellate anthrozoids, which require water to swim to the archegonia. And the archegonia, the female reproductive organs are known as the archegonia. They consist of the egg, which on fertilization, where the fertilization takes place within the archegonium, leading to the development of the sporophyte. The sporophyte characters, when you see, mostly it consists of the foot, seta, and the capsule, where the foot is for anchoring and the seta is a stalk-like structure, and within the capsule are present the spores. The spores are dispersed from the capsules and germinate to form a new gametophyte, which we call it as a protonema, and they completed whereby completing the life cycle. So this is the structure of the sporophyte of Riccia, where you can see only the capsule is present, the foot and feet are absent. In case of the Markensia, you can see there the development of foot, seta, and the capsule, where in the capsule the spores along with the lattice are present. The further structures, when you see it in the sporophyte, in case of hornworts, you can see there are more sterile structures that are being developed it of, and even in the mosses also, further sterilization of the reproductive characters have been taken place along with the spores. There are elaters, the columella, all that will be developed. When you see the life cycle of the bryophyta, life cycle, there are two phases in the life cycle in the complete development of the bryophytes. The majority of the cycle we call it as the have a gametophytic phase, and then and then the sporophytic phase. We see the mature gametophyte. On this gametophyte, where the on the female plant develops the female gamete and the male plants develops the male gamete. So these antheridiums will produce the mobile spores and the biflagellated spores, and the female gamete the archegonia, where it consists of a neck canal, venters canal cells, and the egg cells. And in the egg cells, the sperm will come and the fertilization takes place. And in the fertilization, when takes place, the zygote will be formed. And in this zygote, which will not it will develop into foot sepal, a diploid structure which we call it as the foot seta and the enlarged venter of capsule. So this foot seta, the sporophyte is dependent on the gametophyte, and then the calyptrogen, the capsule, so spores when developed, it will open by calyptra and the spores will fall down, and then a primary gametophytic structure will be developed, which will be call it as the protonema, and this later will develop into a young gametophyte. So as majority of the life cycle, it consists of mostly the gametophytic phase and diploid which is dependent on the sporophyte, which is dependent on the gametophyte. We call it as the haplodiplonting type of the life cycle. If you see the economic importance of bryophytes, Bryophytes, they play a very important in ecological role where they helps in the soil formation. They are the first habitats which will be formed on the barren land, hills and the rocks. They helps in water retention, nutrient cycling in various ecosystems, and thereby bringing the new habitat over there. Then comes they act as an indicator species where it is highly sensitive to pollution and environmental changes, making them useful for the bioindicators. As we see, it is also being used for horticulture uses. The sphagnum moss is used in horticulture for water holding capacity and is a growing medium. Hence, bryophytes, though simple in structure, are ecologically significant, and their unique adaptation and reproductive strategies allow them to live in diverse environment, contributing to ecosystem health and providing valuable insights into the evolution.